vào một cái ngày trong tuần cuối năm, cho nên là và lại vào cái rush time, cái giờ mà tất cả mọi người phải trở về nhà, cho nên là cũng bị trễ một chút so với cái lịch trình ban đầu. Rất là cảm ơn các chị đã dành thời gian đến đây để tham dự. Và trước tiên thì cũng xin giới thiệu một chút qua những cái diễn giả trong cái buổi hội thảo về cái dự án EB5 lấy thẻ xanh, đầu tư lấy thẻ xanh định cư tại Mỹ ngày hôm nay của chúng ta. Trước tiên là xin được giới thiệu ông Mark Schultz ạ. Vâng. Cũng xin giới thiệu qua với tất cả các quý vị ở đây là ông là giám đốc của trung tâm khu vực Texas Regional Center và cũng là nhà tài trợ của dự án One Market Square EB5, và ông Mark là người nhập cư đến Hoa Kỳ, cho nên ông có rất là nhiều kinh nghiệm cho những người nhập cư thành công tại Hoa Kỳ trong việc đầu tư cũng như là sinh sống và thích nghi tại Mỹ, và ông tin tưởng rằng là cái dự án EB5 này của chúng ta sẽ rất là hữu ích và thành công cho những người nhập cư. Và có nói thêm một chút về cái background của ông Mark là ông là một người nhập cư rất là xuất sắc tại Mỹ, và trong quá trình đi học thì ông đã giành được học bổng toàn phần tại Đại học Harvard của Mỹ, và ông cũng là một nhà đầu tư cho ngân hàng Merrill Lynch ở Hồng Kông và Singapore, và ông có kinh nghiệm sống tại châu Á 15 năm, và bây giờ thì ông sống tại Houston, tiểu bang Texas của Hoa Kỳ cùng với một vợ và 4 người con, cho nên ông Mas rất là phải nỗ lực làm việc, hard work. I said about that. Và ông đi khắp châu Á từ châu Âu, Trung Quốc đại lục cho tới Hồng Kông, rồi Singapore hay là Đài Loan, Ấn Độ, và ngày hôm nay ông có mặt tại Việt Nam để cùng giới thiệu tới toàn thể chúng ta cái dự án này. Và một người nữa, lẽ ra ngày hôm nay chúng ta cũng sẽ giao lưu online, giao lưu trực tuyến, bởi vì là anh không có mặt tại đây, đó là một luật sư chuyên tư vấn về luật di trú rất là uy tín tại Mỹ, anh Kristen, và anh là trưởng nhóm tư vấn cái vấn đề lấy thẻ xanh, đầu tư lấy thẻ xanh định cư tại Mỹ, và anh có một cái công ty luật rất là uy tín ở Houston, Texas, và anh cũng được tạp chí nhà đầu tư EB5 chỉ định là người đứng đầu trong nhóm 25 luật sư. Cho nên là quý vị nếu như có tham gia dự án này, quý vị hoàn toàn yên tâm khi chúng ta có một cái đội ngũ trợ lý pháp lý rất là đáng tin tưởng. Và một người thứ ba cũng tham gia hỗ trợ quý vị, một người mà có lẽ là nhiều quý vị biết đến anh với vai trò là một thầy giáo dạy tiếng Anh, đúng không ạ? Rất là nhiều năm kinh nghiệm với cái câu lạc bộ One to English, rất là hữu ích cho nhiều sinh viên giành học bổng tại Mỹ, anh Mr. Richard Lâm ạ. Và giới thiệu thêm cho quý vị, nếu như quý vị nào chưa biết rõ về background của anh Richard Lâm, anh có bằng thạc sĩ về quản trị kinh doanh tại Mỹ, và anh ngoài cái việc giảng dạy tiếng Anh cho học sinh Việt Nam như học sinh nhiều nước ở trên thế giới như là Pháp hay là Singapore hay là Ấn Độ và Trung Quốc, thì anh còn là giảng viên của một vài trường đại học ở Mỹ cũng như là ở Việt Nam, và đặc biệt là anh có kinh nghiệm tư vấn đầu tư tài chính quốc tế rất là nhiều năm, và ngày hôm nay thì anh cũng hỗ trợ chúng ta để có thêm những thông tin cũng như là hiểu biết về cái dự án này. Và ngay bây giờ thì cũng xin được nhiều lời cho anh Mark Schultz và anh Lâm điều khiển buổi hội thảo hôm nay. Một lần nữa cảm ơn quý vị rất là nhiều. Yeah, Mr. Mark, thank you so much because coming here and give us many useful information. So it's time for your presentation. Good luck and please.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dong-Hian. Very nice to hear all those kind words in Vietnamese. So if she said anything that was not correct, I wouldn't know. But I have to say thank you, Dong-Hian, for all your kind words. Probably too many kind words. And today I have Richard Lam here also to help me with the translation. But it seems that everyone here speaks perfect English, right? Yes? Perfect? No problem.
Yeah, so the solution, whenever they have problem, I translate otherwise.
Okay, no problem. So, my name is Matt Trush, as she said. I'm from Houston, Texas, and I've come all the way here today to talk to you and introduce you to the EB5 program. Who here has heard about EB5? Raise your hand. Yeah? And who here is considering going to America in the next few months? Very soon. What if I told you there's a very stable, clean, and clear path to getting a green card for yourself and your children in America? Would that be interesting to you? Yes? Okay. So hopefully all of you are here today to learn a little bit more about EB5, learn a little bit more about the clear, straight path to get an American green card, And I am here today with Mr. Lam and Ms. Tao Hian, and with all of you today to hopefully have an interactive discussion with you about what we can all do to take advantage of this opportunity called EB5. So before I get started, are there any questions that you'd like to ask me about going to America or the EB5 program? Any things you might have heard of in the past that you're not sure about? Just to have your questions come out early so that I know what kind of things to address. Sir, tell me your name.
My name is Gao.
Gao. And where are you from?
I'm from
Hanoi. And have you ever been to the United States? Have you ever gone to USA? Have you ever traveled and visited America?
Not yet, sir.
Not yet. Good. Good answer. Would you like to go visit America?
Gotcha.
Very good. Okay. You win a free trip. No, just joking. And how about you, ma'am? What is your name?
My name is Yolanda.
Elaine. And have you ever traveled to America? No. Are you interested in traveling to America?
Yeah, sure.
Are you interested in going to have your children learn in America? That's right. It's really an American dream.
Yeah.
Like my family immigrated to America, as Ohian said, and I worked very hard. And in America, if you work very hard, you can get all the way to Harvard. You can get a really good job. Of course, you have to work very hard. But as I always tell my friends, that when I was growing up, it was the Jewish students and the Vietnamese students and the Chinese students and the students who had immigrated to America who worked the hardest. So I really believe very strongly in immigrating and in achieving the American dream. I have another nice lady here. What's your name? Green. Win, right? Win. Very nice. And have you visited America before?
I do, yes.
You did. Where did you go?
The first place that I went to is Iowa.
Iowa. Wow.
It's very cold, yes, in the Midwest.
In the Midwest. Why were you visiting Iowa?
I went there for my MBA.
Wow. Okay. Very
So,
impressive.
I got scholarships over there, so
Awesome.
no option.
Fantastic. And now you came back to Hanoi and you're working in business and finance?
Yes,
So you have an MBA from America, a very good job here in Hanoi. So why would you want to go back to America? Any reasons why you would consider going to America?
well, because it's an American dreams,
Right.
and they have a lot of opportunities over there for everyone, even if you are like middle class or like regardless of where you are or what status you are, and mostly they have opportunities for everyone.
That's right, yeah.
So I think it's a very good place for young people to work hard, as you say, and make their dreams come true.
Correct. That's right. Thank you very much. It's a beautiful answer. Vin. So everybody has their own American dream. Every person's dream is different, but everyone knows that with hard work in America, you can get ahead. So today, I want to walk you through, first, what are some of the benefits of this thing called EB5? What is the process for EB5? And then finally, what does an EB5 project look like? So first, I'm going to ask you, if maybe you know, or I'll even tell you a few, some of the benefits of EB5. So the number one benefit most people think about in EB5 is education, right? Education in America is probably the highest and the best in the world. That's why you went and got your MBA there, right? So in America, if you have a green card, if you are a permanent resident there, you can go to a public school for free. all the way the best elementary, the best junior high, the best colleges, the best high schools. You can go there practically for free. So that's the number one benefit. Number two benefit, of course, is job opportunity, right? There's so many opportunities for advancement in America that many people are thinking that the EB-5 green card program will help them achieve their career advancement dreams. And we'll talk about a lot of other types of benefits soon, but I just want to let you know that all of the things that you are imagining in your dream about how to get to America and how to get a permanent residence in America, there really are a huge number of opportunities that you can take advantage of with an American green card. So that's number one. Number two is the process, right? There are many, many ways to go to America. You could go as a tourist, you could go as a business person, you could go there for work, but these days, going to America and getting a visa to America is getting more and more difficult. Thankfully, there's something called the EB-5 program, EB-5 Green Card Program. And EB-5 can let you, it can help you get to America with a clean path, a clear path, as I mentioned, to get to America. So what is EB-5? EB-5 is an investor green card program where somebody from Vietnam, for example, will invest in an American project that creates jobs for America. Since 2008, $22 billion have come into America in order to join this EB-5 program. In fact, today, Vietnam is one of the top EB-5 markets. Vietnamese people are taking advantage of this opportunity more and more than ever before. So EB-5, by investing and creating jobs in America, the US government wants to thank you for that investment, and they give you a green card. So first, the EB-5 program, as of today, requires a $500,000 investment. Okay? The process, as you may or may not have heard, that $500,000 may go up very, very soon. So when? Have you heard the fact that EB-5, which today costs $500,000, in another month or two might cost $1 million or even more? Yeah. Right. So one of the things that a lot of people are eager to find more about EB-5 is because right now it's at $500,000 to invest in EB-5, but very soon they're talking about raising the investment amount to a much higher level. And so those people like yourselves who want to take advantage of this American dream want to do so at a lower price than at a higher price. So that's really the main reason why today we see so many people who are rushing to get into these EB-5 programs, because the investment amount can increase really almost double or more very, very soon. That's number one. Number two is that you have a requirement to invest this money for a period of time. The process is as follows. You join an EB-5 program by investing the $500,000. You have an immigration lawyer who's qualified and can help you to file an application. It's called the I-526 application. With your application, you start the process to get your green card. Within 12 or 18 months, you can be approved for having a green card. It's very fast. After you've been approved, yeah, I just can't believe it. Can you believe it? In 12 or 18 months, you could have an American green card, right? Within 12 to 18 months, you could have an approval for an American green card. Then if you're in Vietnam, you go to the consulate and get an interview. So that within, on average, 2 years, You and your family members, husband, wife, and all your children under 21 can have a green card to go to America to live just like any other American. The only difference is, as Richard Lamb always reminds me, is you can't vote. Still can't vote in America, but who really is going to America to vote? The good news is, within 2 years, you can get a conditional green card and already take your family for school, for work, for everything. There's no other program like that in the world for only $500,000 that you can change your life from one place to another and already be living the American dream so quickly. So after this 2-year process, you get a conditional green card. Approximately 2 years later, they let you get rid of the conditional fact of the green card and make it a permanent green card. So 2 years, you get the conditional green card. 2 years later, you apply to make it permanent. And usually within 5 years, you can have a permanent green card forever. So, as I mentioned, the requirement is that you would invest in a U.S. project that creates jobs, and you've shown the U.S. government that your money was at risk for those 5 years, and then they've given you first a conditional green card, and then a permanent green card, and for all intents and purposes, except voting, you're practically living like an American. So that's the process. I mentioned the benefits, I mentioned the process. So, are there any questions before I go on to tell you a little bit more about what the EB-5 project looks like? So I'll just ask this lady in white, since I haven't asked you a question yet. Have you gone to America?
Yes.
Oh, where did you go? Oh, not yet, okay. Would you like to go visit America? Would you consider going to school in America? Good. And after you study in America, would you like to stay and work for a while? Wonderful. So this is a classic, young, ambitious Vietnamese woman who sees the opportunity in America for study and for work. And so I wish you a lot of success in achieving your American dreams. So why don't we go forward and look at the project, right? Because I think when you look at a real case project, you'll understand very, very clearly what the EB-5 project and program is about and what you can do today to take advantage of this EB-5 project. $500,000 that I invested into this project. Do I ever see it again? The answer is yes. The money that you put into the project is an investment. And like any other investment, you get to have your principal returned. So our EB-5 project, and most EB-5 projects, the funds come into the program and are lent as a loan to the project. And 5 years later, after your application is approved, then we can return the $500,000 to you. So the cost is not $500,000 in your pocket. I paid $500,000, now I've got a green card. The fact is actually you've invested $500,000. And 5 years later, you get those funds back. Now, there are some real fees that are associated with the green card program. As I mentioned, the $500,000 today is an investment, but there are some other fees associated with it. One, there's an administrative fee of $50,000. Two, there are legal fees. When you go to an immigration lawyer to help you file your case, there's an immigration law fee of approximately $15,000 to $20,000. And finally, there are some government fees that are the fees that the U.S. government requires for you to pay for the processing of your application. So for around $75,000, which is your cost, you and your family and all your children under 21, even if you have 10, can have a U.S. green card to go have a permanent residence in America for study and for work. So it's true, you do need $500,000 to invest, but you'll get that money back as an investment. Of course, it's at risk. There's no guarantees. But the real cost to the program is the administrative fee, the legal fees, and the government fees. So that is a tremendous opportunity. The real cost is only about $75,000, and you're going to get your $500,000 investment back after 5 years. Now, I have to tell you, there's also a dividend on top of that, what we call a preferred return. For the $500,000 that you invest, every year we're also going to pay you a 0.5% return on your money. So you're putting money in as an investment, you also get the money back. So that's a great question, Richard. Thank you very much for asking that, because you clarified that it's not really costing you $500,000 to get the green card. It's an investment of $500,000. Yes, question, please. Yes.
So, how about the first time we joined the program, totally we had to pay for the 500,000
Yes.
and then all the fees, right?
So really your cost is about $575 up front. But 5 years later, you'll receive the money back. Now, as I explained to you, the process, there's actually a two-step process to the program. The first step is called the conditional green card process, and the second step is called the permanent green card process. Right, so let me go into the program and I'll explain to you a little bit more. Our project is called One Market Square. It's located in the heart of downtown Houston, and it's an office, retail, and parking project in the heart of downtown Houston. I want to just mention that this is, since we've got the financial brokers and analysts here, this is not a securities sales at the moment. We're really just a marketing of this program, and this is our disclaimer. So One Market Square is that beautiful building in front of the tallest tower in Texas. It is going to be developed in two phases. There's the parking and retail, phase 1, and then there's the office tower, which will go up to 41 stories tall on the phase 2. So here's a look at the phase 1, and here's a look at the phase 2. And really, these are the main important highlights that you should be looking for when you're looking at an EB5 project. And I think it's just a very, very good opportunity for me to explain to you why the One Market Square project is so good. You'll understand what to look for and what maybe you should look out for when you're deciding on EB5 and which EB5 project to invest in. So we say there's 3 important points when you're looking at EB5 projects. Number 1 is immigration. Will I get my green card? Right? Number 2, investment. Will I get my investment back? Also a very important question. And question number 3 is, what is the integrity of the team that I will be working with and cooperating with for the next 5 years as I get my green card? So those are the 3 crucial questions you should ask yourself when you are looking at an EB5 project. So let's look at question number 1, immigration. So our regional center is an opportunity for investors like yourselves to come together to get credit for jobs. So Miss Wynn, for example, decides that she wants to open her own company in America. She has to show the US government that she has 10 workers working every day, and if somebody doesn't show up for work, she might not get her green card. But with a regional center, we create a lot of jobs. We're making a huge construction project, right? So we're actually creating more jobs than are needed. So the number one thing about working with a regional center versus doing the investment yourself is A, it's much more passive. You don't have to actively go there and work and find your workers and manage the workers every day. You can invest in a regional center investment vehicle which allows us to do the hard work for you. So that's number one. Why use a regional center versus why go direct? Number two, and it's a very, very important, exciting thing about this project, if you all turn to your brochures on the cover, you'll see something very interesting. What does it say in the top right corner there? Right. Yes? Right. The I-924 petition has been approved. It's called in English the exemplar approval. That means we went through the process to make sure that our project would be pre-approved. When you go through the process in EB5, the US government will look at two things. They'll look at the project and they'll look at the person. So in our case, we did the hard work to get our project pre-approved by the USCIS. So 50% of your application is already done. They've reviewed our project, they've said that everything that you say you're doing, we approve, and we accept your methodology, and we're going to give you the credit for the jobs that you say you're going to create, as long as you continue to do what you say you're going to do, right? So we have a pre-approval of the project. That means your I-92 or your I-526 application, part of it has already gone through the exemplar approval process. So the only part that you really need to work on and struggle to get right is the second part, which is the person, yourself. And you work with your immigration lawyer to prove your lawful source of funds. So the US government wants to know that the funds that you have, that you're investing in America, are legal, are lawful. So you need to work with your immigration lawyer to prove that the money that you're investing in America is coming from a legal source of funds. So it's not very difficult, actually. I understand everyone in Vietnam is very wealthy. Is it true? No. That's what I heard. So even if everybody's not wealthy, you may have $500,000 for yourself or as a gift from your family to put towards this EB5 investment. You might have an asset like a home or an apartment that you could get a loan against your assets. So there's a very, very good opportunity for you to prove that the $500,000 that you have was legally obtained, and that you have the opportunity now to invest that in America. So point number one about the green card program is that this project is exemplar approved. It's called I-924 exemplar approval. It's a really big, strong selling point if you're looking for an EB5 project. Point number two, and it's very, very important. As I said, you need to show the US government that you're creating jobs, right? Let me ask you a question. Do you remember how many jobs per investor? 10, very good, okay. And we are looking for 16 investors for our phase one. So 10 jobs per investor, and we're looking for 16 investors. So, lady in the green, what's your name? Hello. So if we need 16 investors creating 10 jobs each, how many jobs total do we need to create? I think she said 160, right? 160, exactly, right. Good job. So we need 160 jobs created, right? In order to show the US government that we did our job. 16 investors, 160 jobs, that's exactly what we need. But let me ask you a question. We've got Win and we've got, tell me your name again? Wayne. What happens if I don't start to build my project? What if I never go and actually start my project? Will I have any jobs to show the US government? Say, if, that's right, exactly. If the project that you invest in doesn't start to build, doesn't create those jobs, are they going to give you a green card? No. So you should really look for a project that is already building, is already under construction, is already creating the jobs that you need, right? So, the good news is that we started construction over a year ago, and we're almost finished with our construction, and we're already creating the jobs that you need to get your green card. So, the risk about investing in a project that never starts is gone. The concern that maybe the jobs won't be created, well, in our case, construction has already started, and the jobs are already being created. In fact, we are expecting to make 86% more jobs than are needed. So what does that mean? I'll ask you again. How many jobs do we need? Phase 1 project is going to create almost 300 jobs. So that is 86% more jobs than you need in order to show the US government that you've done what you need to get the green card. Okay? So that is a very, very, very important, strong point. We'll go through the slides, but I just want to show you these points first as talking points, and then we can look at each slide in more detail. So the first thing is exemplar approval. The second thing is we've already begun construction. In fact, we're almost finished. And the third thing is that we have more jobs than we need in order to show the US government that we've created the jobs so that you and you and you and you can get a green card. So that's what we've got from an immigration perspective. It's a fantastic immigration story. And we've got a pre-approval, we've got the jobs, we're creating the jobs, we've got more jobs than we need. Immigration story, wonderful. Now let's look at investment, right? We all want to make sure that this is a good investment so that you can get your money back, right? So, first is that this is prime Houston real estate. Houston is one of the top places in the country. It's one of the fastest growing cities in America, and we are building in the heart of downtown Houston, at the intersection of the business district, the historic district, and the theater district. There couldn't be a better place. So number one, as we say in real estate, location, location, location. We've got that. Number two is that our company, the developer, is investing $19 million, or 34% of the entire money needed for the project. We are investing our own funds in this project. And our funds actually come after yours. The EB5 investor is a preferred investor. That means you get your return and your money back before we are able to get any of our money back. So the EB5 is in a very, very good position relative to the investors, and we put in $90 million. That's a big investment for us, and you all, the preferred EB5 investors, are in a better position to get your money back first than ours. And the third very, very important point is we have all of the financing that we need from the bank to finish. Right? We have a commitment for $36.5 million from the bank, and we're drawing on this loan every month as we build. So let me ask you a question. You might be asking yourself, if you have $19 million of equity,
and you've got $36 million of loan commitment from the bank, and all you need to build the whole project is $55 million, why do you even need EB5 investment? You've got all the money you need. Why would you consider even bringing in EB5? So the answer is that as the EB5 money comes into the project, we borrow less money from the bank, which means we pay less interest to the bank. So the EB5 actually reduces the need for us to draw funds from the bank. And we are therefore working with EB5 investors, even though we have all the money that we need to do the project successfully. So from an investment perspective, you could look at this project and say, the developer has put in 34%, $19 million of their own money. They put it at risk. 2, the bank has already underwritten the entire risk for the project, and the EB5 investor is just taking that position instead of the bank and enjoying the benefit of being a preferred investor in the project. Okay? And finally, as I mentioned, the third very, very important point for all of you is the integrity of the builder, the integrity of the developer, the integrity of the regional center, the integrity of the EB5 team that are going to be bringing your application to the US government, helping you file it, helping you succeed in getting your EB5 visa, your green card, and achieving your American dream. So the important question you should be asking yourself is, can I trust the people that I am asking to help me with my immigration dreams, with my investment dreams, with my family's hard-earned money? Can I trust that these people have the integrity to help me achieve these goals and dreams? And the answer is yes. Lindbeck, our group of companies, is an 80-year-old successful builder in America. In fact, it's one of the top builders in America. Lindbeck has won the Top Builder Award 15 times in a row. Actually, 15 times, that's what I can tell you. That we are one of the top builders. We build some of the top projects, from office buildings to schools to museums to hospitals. We build the top types of buildings and projects in America today. So you're working already with an 80-year-old, very, very strong reputation company called Lindbeck and Companies. Number 2, we're working with one of the world's top architects called Gensler. Gensler built, you may have heard of it, Shanghai Tower. It's the tallest tower in Asia. It's the second tallest tower in the world. So Gensler is who we're working with to build One Market Square. And finally, as I mentioned, we have the top securities lawyers, the top immigration lawyers, the top SEC advisors to make sure that everything we do in building this EB5 program is being done in the most professional and the most successful way. So now that we've talked over the main bullet points and the project highlights, now we're going to look at the slides. You can take a little look at the PowerPoint to see a little bit more detail about this project. But before I do, are there any questions? We have financial analysts, we have some business and trading people here, right? We've got all kinds of people who are looking at students, people who are looking at the opportunities in America. So we hope that you will have questions, will ask when you do have questions, but we're really here to help you through this process together, okay? So, this is our I-924 exemplar approval. We received it in March of 2017, and that's when we began to market our project. Here is a look at the construction, as I mentioned, and I have a picture here from August, but now we're already at the 7th floor. We only have a few more floors left till we finished. The reason I included this picture here from August is because this picture was taken just 2 or 3 days after the flood in Houston to show you that the flood didn't affect our project at all. Here is a look at the job creation that I mentioned to you. We need 160 jobs for the 16 investors. And the construction phase alone creates nearly 179 jobs. And then the operation phase creates another 118 jobs. So we have nearly 300 jobs, which are 86% more than what we need for those 160 jobs to show for the green cards. Oh, right. So let me tell you about Texas. Has anybody heard of Texas? Texas, yeah? Texas? Okay, good. Texas, that's where I'm from, Texas. Texas, if it were a country, would be the 10th largest economy in the world. That's how big Texas is. And Houston, which is known to be the energy capital of the world, to have the Texas Medical Center, and to have NASA Space Center, if it were a country, would be the 30th largest economy in the world. So that's if you put the other countries up next to Texas and Houston, Texas would be number 10, and Houston would be number 30. That's how important these economies are to the world today. Our location, as I mentioned, is prime real estate, right in front of the tallest tower in Texas, and at the epicenter of the theater district, the historic district, and the central business district. It has wonderful freeway access, as you can see, and it's front and center of the Houston skyline. Market Square Park is just a block away, right in front of our site is Market Square Park, where the original City Hall of Houston was built. So this is a public park which will never go away, and it really adds to the work, live, play environment of the area. Now a little bit about the integrity of our group. As I mentioned, Aquinas is the group of companies that includes Lindbeck Construction, Essex Development, Texas Regional Center EB5, and Fannin Life Sciences. So these companies, or these group of companies, have a history of now 80 years. And they were founded by Mr. Leo Lindbeck Sr. Then it was run by his son, Leo Lindbeck Jr. And today, the chairman of our company is Leo Lindbeck III. And yes, Leo Lindbeck IV is working at the company today too. So these are the 15 top National Build America Awards. As I mentioned, you could see the Cincinnati Proton Therapy Center. It's a new type of way of curing cancer today. We have the Tobin Center, which is a cultural center. We have museums, we have NASA, we have art museums, we have office towers, we have schools, we have hospitals. Lindbeck is really one of the most diverse and top builders in America today. As I mentioned, Gensler is a famous, or internationally famous architect that built, among other things, the Shanghai Tower, which is the second tallest tower in the world. And finally, a little bit more about our chairman and president. Chairman Leo Lindbeck III is a graduate of Stanford University, and today he's often asked to go to Stanford to teach as an adjunct professor. Eugene Lee and Leo Lindbeck III were classmates at Stanford MBA, and that's why Eugene, who is a graduate of Harvard himself, started to work with the Lindbecks for the last 20 years. And what's most impressive to me is that Eugene and his family also immigrated to America. For all of you, that you should see the same for yourselves and also for your children in America, that as a first-generation America, you can achieve what I think is really proof of the American dream. So then, in short, as I want to summarize again, the three main important aspects when you're looking at EB5 program and EB5 project are immigration, investment, and integrity. From an immigration perspective, you should look for a project that has exemplar approval, the construction's already in progress, and has a job buffer of at least what we have in ours, which is 86%. From an investment perspective, you should look for prime real estate. You should look for a commitment by the developer, which in our case is 34%. You should look for the bank having financed the project, and that EB5 is in a very safe position relative to the other investors as a preferred investor, even stronger position than the developer, the equity, the $19 million that's gone in from the developer himself. And finally, we talk about the integrity of an 80-year-old builder and developer. We've got the top immigration law firms, we've got the top architects, we've got the top SEC compliance. But the one thing that we're lacking today, can anybody tell me? The one thing that our project lacks today is you. And you and you. We need you to come and be partners with us to make our EB5 program and your American dream a reality. So thank you so much today for coming here. Thank you so much for joining us today, and I hope to see you very soon in America. Thank you. Thank you. So actually it's a great question. The debt, at first during the construction period, is an interest-only loan, and then after construction we pay down principal and interest. So the EB5 is really a much better 5-year instrument for us because we're paying, as I mentioned, 0.5% to the EB5 investor, and we pay 0.5 for 5 years, and then we pay back the $500,000 at the end as a bullet payment. So that's a much better loan arrangement than the bank. Although the bank terms aren't so high, it's a very, very a much better position for us to work with EB5 capital than to take that same money from the bank. Of course, we have diversified loan. We have the bank loan and the EB5, but for dollars of the EB5 loan, so we are only paying 0.5 to the EB5 investors, and then we pay back the $500,000 or the $8 million total at the end of those 5 years. So it's a very good opportunity for the EB5 investor, but it's also a good opportunity for us. That's why we do this. So we want to make sure that the EB5 investor is able to be happy and will go tell their friends about other about joining our second phase as well. So we want to do everything right for the first phase investors so that our second phase will also be a success.
Okay, so the EB5 fund is used for the construction first phase? Or
Yes.
Is used to pay the interest of the...
It's used specifically for the construction. So as we draw down on a monthly basis, let's say we take down about $1 million draw from the bank. So when $500,000 EB5 capital comes in, we take $500,000 from the bank, $500,000 from the EB5. So we're actually using the money from EB5 directly to pay for construction, not to pay back bank or interest. Mm-hmm. Very good question. This is a real question. Excellent.
But now, I see that the EB5 capital is only $8 million.
Yes.
So why go for more?
Excellent question. Wow, I didn't realize that I was going to have such good questions. Okay, if we're creating almost 300 jobs, how much money could I have raised? I could have raised $15 million, right? With 300 jobs, let's say it was 297, but it was 300 jobs, I could have raised almost $15 million. So you're asking an excellent question. Why are you only raising 8? We can raise up to 10, but why are you raising so little, right? So the answer is that we want to make sure that we aren't putting our EB5 investors at risk. As I mentioned, if we raise the maximum amount of money to get the exact number of jobs that we have, sure, we would have more money, but what happens if there's any, there's no wiggle room, there's no room for error? Then when you would go to get your green card, you might not succeed. So we feel that since we really, we're doing this as a path to prepare for, future financings. Our main goal is not just how do we save money, but how do we do EB5 and succeed for our EB5 investors so we can continue to do this long term. But it's an excellent question. Very smart. You guys are smart.
Tell us about the second phase.
Okay, So as I mentioned, we are now raising $8 million from 16 investors for phase 1. Our phase 2, which is building the office tower, is a much bigger EB5 raise. For that, we are raising $100 million from 200 EB5 investors, if it stays at 500, if it were to stay at 500, right? So we have a huge incentive to get our EB5 phase 1 just right, because we want to show our phase 2 investors how well we did for our EB5 phase 1 investors. So since you're coming in here in phase 1, there couldn't be a better opportunity. Number one, the construction risk is almost gone, right? And the job creation is almost complete. And two, we have such an incentive to do a great job by you, so that you will come back and tell your friends to help us raise for our second phase offering. The question is about source of funds, right? The application, as I mentioned, part 1 is looking at the project. That's got exemplar approval. But number 2 is your own source of funds report. Should we as the project help you? Who can help you with your source of funds question? The answer is that there are some of the most reputable immigration law firms that are in Vietnam today, whether they be Western immigration law firms or joint ventures with local Vietnamese law firms, that can help you work on your lawful source of funds report. They are experts at helping with the most challenging cases. You should know that since, as I mentioned, there are hundreds and hundreds of EB5 applications going in every year, and a lot of them are facing these challenges with the source of funds. The immigration law firms that are here in Vietnam today are doing an excellent job of helping investors like yourselves work on their source of funds. So I would say the answer to your question is really find a reputable EB5 immigration law firm today to help you start the work on your source of funds report. Great question.
Right? So it's an excellent question. If you're a student and you're going to go there as an international student, first of all, your international student fees will be much higher than if you're an American. Right? But still, you need to have an expectation of what it's going to cost to live in America. So our estimates are that you should prepare for this EB5 experience about $1 million. Right? $575 for the investment, and then other capital to pay for your life during those years. Now, somebody like you, who's going to get a good job in America, you might not have to have that money in your pocket today, since you can go earn it in America, right? But if you're just going to go there and wait for your green card, you probably should put about $100,000 to $120,000 per year for expenses in America. Now, Houston and Texas is one of those parts of America where the cost of living is very reasonable. If you go to Los Angeles or New York, the cost of living might be double or triple what you find in Houston. So one thing you should know is that where you invest, you don't have to live in the place where you invest. But Houston already is the number 2 probably location for Vietnamese to choose in America, because it's such a reasonable place to live one's life. So I would definitely recommend, if you're considering coming to America, looking for a job, it's one of the best places. Cost of living is also one of the best places. So for, as you mentioned, $200,000 or $300,000, you could have what would cost you $1 million or $2 million in Los Angeles. So you could really save your money and live a life in Houston or Texas, which is much more reasonable.
All right, if we would like to go to Houston to visit the project.
So first, yes, I would definitely welcome all of you to come to Houston, to look at our project, to look at Houston. And I personally would be happy to extend invitation letters to all of you to help you come to visit America. If you don't have a visa already, we would be very, very happy to send you an invitation letter to invite you to come to Houston to visit our project. Yes, thank you.
So, If we invest in the program, so do we have to present in the US for a long time or?
Very good question.
Yeah.
Okay. So the number one thing many people ask about EB5 is, what qualifications do I need to have to be an EB5 investor? Do I have to have perfect English? Do I need to take a test? Do I need to be a professional with a master's degree or a PhD? How difficult is it to be an EB5 investor? What are the other requirements? So number one thing that you should know, which is really incredible, is you don't have to speak English. You don't need to have gone to school. You don't need a degree. You don't have to have a particular super talent or something. You just need to have legal source of funds that you can bring to America to create jobs. That's the only requirement. And of course you have to be a lawful citizen as well, right? So the number one question that I usually get is, do I have to take a test? Is my English good enough? The answer is, it doesn't matter. You just have to be a successful professional or get a gift from a successful professional, your parents, to invest in America, to create jobs in America. But the next question you had is, do I have to go live in America, right? So there is a residency requirement. After you've received your conditional green card, you need to spend more time in America than not. However, many professionals say, I can't leave my job. I can't leave being a doctor or a lawyer or a financial analyst. I'm very successful here. I want to create the opportunity for my children, but I'm not necessarily ready to give up my career here in Vietnam. So the answer is that your immigration law firm can help you find ways to justify why you don't need to be in America so much. And you're actually able to have a very limited amount of time that you need to spend in America. So those who want to be in America, that's great, right? If you want to be in America, if you want to go to school in America, that opportunity is there for you. But if you are concerned, maybe I don't have the time to spend that much time in America, well, you don't really need to. Your immigration law firm can help you with that question. Very good. Okay. So we take our funds and we invest it to, it's called EB5, it's called Project Investor, which lends or invests to the project. So really we're making a loan to the project. If the project didn't pay back the money, then you have the collateral of the project itself. You're the project owners, right? So I can send you the PPM, you can look a little bit more clearly, but the idea is that the assets, all of the assets of the project are collateralized to the loan.
Second position.
Second position after construction, of course, yes.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we don't have no picture. Everybody come up.